Hi guys, this is Asal. I'm studying for the bar and I wanted to review my notes with you. So today I'm studying civil procedure and specifically I'm studying class actions. So before I jump into the definition of class actions, I would like to tell you a little bit about my experience. So I was working in a law office and one day my boss sends me an email with a whole bunch of names, a whole bunch of numbers, and he also sends me a script with a whole bunch of questions. So what he wanted me to do was call these people and try to ask them these questions so that I can help them. And I realized that a lot of people don't know the definition of class actions. I didn't know the definition of class actions. So what I want to do in this video is jump right into it and define class actions for you. So a class action is a case in which one or more representative parties bring claim on behalf of all members of a larger group. So how does this happen? This happens when a single or multi-plaintiff case is brought by the class representative, then the court certifies the case for class treatment, then the case proceeds as a class action. So, in order for a class certification to be given, the class members must meet the requirement under the Rule 23A, and the case is suitable for class treatment under the Rule 23B. So, the class certification has these 4 requirements that I suggest you memorize. It is numerosity, commonality, typicality, and adequacy of representation. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to define each part for you. I'm going to start with numerosity. So numerosity is satisfied if the class has so many members that it would be impracticable to join each individually. Commonality is satisfied if questions of law or fact are common to all class members. Typicality exists if the representative parties' claim or defenses are typical of those of all class members. And finally, adequacy of representation. This exists if the class representatives will adequately protect the class members' interests. Okay, so I would like to explain this a little bit more. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to start with numerosity again. So in a numerosity case is a case when thousands of members spread across the country, which makes the individual joiner impracticable. And with the commonality, this is when there is a factual and legal question and of the damage, and this applies to all class members. And then the next thing is typicality, which must be the same type of event for everybody. For all members, it must be the same type of event. Next, I would like to talk about adequacy of representation, which there must be that competent representation. Okay, so that has to be there. The next thing I would like to talk about are the 3 types of class actions that you see under the Rule 23B1, 23B2, and 23B3. And the next thing, I'm going to define these rules for you. So the Rule 23B1 is a series of individual cases would create a risk of inconsistent decisions or otherwise impair the class member's interests. And the 23B2 is the defendant has acted or refused to act on grounds that apply to the whole class, so that the class-wide relief is warranted. And finally, the Rule 23B3 is a common question of law or fact predominate over any question affecting only individual class members, and a class action is superior to other methods. Okay, so the Rule 23B3 tends to be cases in which the class members' claims are related, but perhaps not as closely as in the other types. So it's a little bit different from the Rule 23A and the Rule 23B, because under the Rule 23A and the Rule 23B, the court issues an order certifying the class to proceed as a class action. So it's a little different. The next thing I would like to talk about is the certification order, which defines the class, identifies the class claims or issues, and appoints a class counsel. So the class counsel is actually very important because it must be either the original counsel, often appointed, or the court must consider attorney's experience, abilities, and resources. So let me pause right there. So usually with a class action, someone like me who's so unexperienced, who's just getting out of law school, I'm not suitable. So probably be someone like my boss who's been doing this for so many years. So he's the type of person who has the experience and the abilities and the resources to handle a class action lawsuit. So what I have to say about that is that it is not just for anybody. And then lastly, I would like to talk about this. A class action may only be settled or dismissed with the court's approval. So if the court does not give any approval, the class action may not be settled or dismissed. And then also, the class members must receive notice and opportunity to be heard before approval. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to say about class actions. I really hope you enjoy studying. Good luck.